Hi everybody, I'm Ryan, and today we're going to talk about Eldrazi Ramp in Modern. We're going to talk about card choices in the deck, the overall strategy of the deck, how to play the deck. Let's jump into it.
Well, the Eldrazi finally came. Yeah, this basement's not gonna protect me. I don't know why I came down here. Let me...
So this is Eldrazi Ramp in Modern. What this deck is effectively attempting to do is use lands like Eldrazi Temple and Uggin's Labyrinth to produce more mana than you probably should. They use these alongside Utopia Sprawl and Talisman of Impulse to have so much mana that they can easily cast cards like Sowing Micah Spawn Kick to put pressure on your opponent's mana and get yourself even more mana, Devourer of Destiny, Worldbreaker, Sire of Seven Deaths, and eventually Emrakul, the Promised End. As far as the other lands we have, we're playing primarily green, but also splashing red for Kozilek's Return, Rising Chrysalis, and Stone Rain. So we're playing Stomping Grounds and a bunch of fetch lands alongside Commercial District just for the Surveil land because it's a little free. Playing a single Cavern of Souls so that our Eldrazi's have difficulty being countered by things like Consign, and a Bojuka Bog to attack opponents' graveyards alongside Sanctum of Ugin, which is a colorless land that says whenever you cast a colorless spell with mana value 7 or greater, you may sacrifice this land. If you do, search your library for a colorless creature card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. So it's just another way to fetch out even more super powerful Eldrazi. All these things can be searched out by Sowing Micah Spawn, which I'll talk about now and then just go mana cost order. But Sowing Micah Spawn is really relevant to the lands. Sowing Micah Spawn is a 4-mana 3/3 with the Void kicker for 2 mana, and when you cast a spell, search your library for a land card, put it to the battlefield, and then shuffle. If you cast a spell, if it was kicked, exile target land. So we're able to exile our opponent's lands and put a lot of pressure on our mana if we're able to kick this, but just casting this in general means we can use our lands as sort of a toolbox. We can grab lands. If we need more mana, we can grab Eldrazi Temple or Uggin's Labyrinth. Normally it's just Eldrazi Temple. If we want to attack the graveyard, we can grab Bojuka Bog. If we're worried about things getting countered, we can grab Cavern of Souls, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Or Sanctum of Ugin if we want to, have more threats or whatever. And we can use Sowing Micah Spawn for that, which is just so powerful. It isn't just like grab a basic or whatever. As far as our 1-mana spells, we're playing 2 Ancient Stirrings. Ancient Stirrings is a 1-mana sorcery. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a colorless card from among them and put it into your hand, then put the rest in the bottom of your library in any order. This just adds a ton of consistency to the deck. The only things it doesn't grab are some sideboard cards, Utopia Sprawl and Malevolent Rumble. It grabs literally everything else in the deck because everything has Devoid or is just straight up colorless. And so it's kind of like a Ponder. Playing for Utopia Sprawl. Utopia Sprawl is a 1-mana enchantment. Enchant Forests. As a Sora enters, choose a color. Whenever Enchanted Forest is tapped for mana, its controller adds an additional 1 mana of the chosen color. So it's just another way to ramp and also another way to fix for our red mana if we really want it. We're playing 4 Malevolent Rumble, excuse me, is a 2-mana sorcery. Reveal the top 4 cards of your library. You may put a permanent card from among them into your hand, put the rest into your graveyard, create a 0/1 colorless Eldrazi Spawn creature token with sacrifice this token, add a colorless mana. So the cool part about this card is it's kind of just a better Ancient Stirrings. 1, it ramps you. You get an Eldrazi Spawn, which is awesome. 2, the stuff you don't select goes into the graveyard, which fuels Delirium for Emrakul, which is just super good. And it grabs all permanents, which means it literally grabs everything except for Kozilek's Command and Kozilek's Return. I'm playing 4 Talisman of Impulse, a 2-mana artifact. You can tap it to add a colorless, or you can pay a life and add a red or a green. Just another great way to ramp mana, especially if you go like Uggin's Labyrinth into Talisman of Impulse on turn 1, and then cast and then cast like Ancient Stirrings or something is so good. We're playing 3 Kozilek's Return. Is a 3-mana instant with Devoid, deals 2 damage to each creature. Whenever you cast an Eldrazi spell with mana value 7 or greater, you may exile this card from your graveyard. If you do, this creature deals 5 damage to each creature. So it's a great card against decks that are attempting to go wide. The deck that immediately pops into my head is like Red White Energy. Before I talked about Sowing Micah Spawn, so Writhing Chrysalis is a 4-mana 2/3 with Devoid. Whenever you cast this spell, create 2 0/1 colorless Eldrazi spawn creature tokens with sacrifice this token at a colorless. It also has reach, and whenever you sacrifice another Eldrazi, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. That is just so disgusting. So it creates the spawns. So Writhing Chrysalis ramps for future turns, which is awesome. It's also a big blocker because we often use these spawns that we get from Writhing Chrysalis and from Malevolent Rumble and from Kozilek's Return. And so it's a very good big blocker, and then it becomes a really big attacker as we sacrifice more and more spawns. Playing 2 Worldbreaker. Worldbreaker is a 7-mana 5/7 with Devoid. When you cast a spell, exile target artifact, enchantment, or land, and it has reach. And you can pay 3 mana and sacrifice a land to return this card from your graveyard to your hand. It's just great main deck artifact or enchantment hate, and then if you don't have any artifacts or enchantments to hate out, you know, targeting lands alongside Sowing Mycospawn Spawn is also super, super powerful. And it's a recurring threat if the game goes wildly long. Playing 4 Devourer of Destiny. Devourer of Destiny is a 7-mana 6/6. You may reveal this card in your opening hand. If you do, at the beginning of your first upkeep, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may put one of those cards back on top of your library, exile the rest. When you cast a spell, exile target permanent that's 1 or more colors. So this smooths out your opening hands, which is excellent. And then also in the late game, when we ramp into this card, it is actually very powerful against pretty much every deck except for the Mirror, because it just gets rid of a permanent that's 1 or more colors, which is just most non-lands, and is a 6/6 threat, which is so powerful. We're playing a single Sire of 7 Deaths. I have seen decks play up to 4, though. This is one of those flex slots. It's a 7-mana 7/7 with First Strike, Vigilance, Menace, Trample, Reach, Lifelink, and Ward. Pay 7 life. So this card's just very good against creature decks because it's just super hard to remove and blocks, gains a ton of life. It's just so good. We're playing 4 Kozilek's Command, which is probably the best card in the deck. It's double Devoid and X, Kindred instant Eldrazi, which being Kindred is a big deal for Emrakul. Choose 2. Target player creates X 0/1 colorless Eldrazi spawn creature tokens with sacrifice this token, add a colorless. Target player scries X, then draws a card. Exile target creature in mana value X or less, or exile up to X target cards from graveyards. So this is ramp. Especially since it's instant, we can do it at the end of our opponent's turn, untap, do the thing. Ramp that can pump Writhing Chrysalis. Be card selection, and not necessarily advantage, but a ton of selection, which really we only need a card or 2 to be able to win the match with this deck. It's removal, and also it's graveyard hate all in 1 card, and it counts as 2 types for Emrakul. Speaking of Emrakul, it is a 13-mana 13/13, costs 1 less for each card type among cards in your graveyard. And we're playing a ton of different card types: Kindred, Instant, Creature, Artifact, Enchantment, Land, Sorcery, all very good. So this can cost very little sometimes. And when you cast this spell, you gain control of target opponent during the player's next turn. After that turn, the player takes an extra turn, and it also has Fly and Trample protection from instants. So you take control of your opponent's turn, which is beautiful because you can pretty aggressively sabotage your opponent during their turn. It doesn't matter that they get an extra turn, and then you just untap and win the game. Normally, when you cast Emrakul, the game's over. So we're ramping as much as we can, getting that good card selection, stopping what our opponent is doing, blocking a whole bunch, and then casting big, dumb idiots like Devourer of Destiny, Worldbreaker, Sire of 7 Deaths, and Emrakul, and just winning the game just with card quality. As far as the sideboard goes, Dismember is a 3 mana with 2 Phyrexian black. Target creature gets -5/-5 till end of turn. It's great additional removal, especially instant speed removal. We're playing the 4th Kozilek's Return. We've already talked about why that's good. We're playing 3 Stone Rain, 3 mana sorcery, destroy target land. This is mostly good in the mirror match and against Amulet. Good against decks where they have lands that produce multiple mana or lands that are hyper relevant. Playing a single Nature's Claim, green instant, destroy target artifact or enchantment. Its controller gains 4 life, just good artifact enchantment hate. That is played alongside Force of Vigor. Force of Vigor is a 4 mana instant. If it's not your turn, you may exile a green card from your hand rather than play a spell's mana cost. Destroy up to 2 target artifacts and or enchantments. So we have Malevolent Rumble, we have Ancient Strands, we have Utopia Sprawl, and we bring this card in with Nature's Claim as well. Unfortunately, we can't exile Sowing Mycospawn or Worldbreaker or Writhing Chrysalis because they all have Devoid, so they technically are not green. But we can pay 4 mana for this card very easily, and getting rid of those 2 artifacts or enchantments is pretty powerful. Playing 3 Soulless Jailers, a 2 mana 0/4. Permanent cards in graveyards can't enter the battlefield, and players can't cast non-creature spells from graveyards or in exile. Very good against decks like Storm or anything with like impulse effects or whatever. And then we're playing 3 Trinisphere. Trinisphere is a 3 mana artifact. As long as this artifact is untapped, each spell that would cost less than 3 mana to cast costs 3 mana to cast, which is excellent against decks that are casting a bunch of super cheap spells like Murktide or frankly, even energy, maybe. That is Eldrazi Ramp. If you like this video, please be sure to like and subscribe. Check me out on social medias. Links are above me and in the description. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.